Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is your latest Manchester United news. And after a big win for Ruben Amorim against Sunderland, I suppose the question is, can this be a new start for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United? Can relationships be rebuilt between Ruben Amorim and the Manchester United fans? And can he survive as Manchester United manager when maybe 24 hours ago, many people felt it was impossible? Myself, I've said that I've been running out of patience. Myself, I've said he's on the pathway to the sack. So where do I feel tonight? What do I think tonight? What do you think tonight? I want to get into that because look, we've done the match reaction and I think reading the comments, like I said I would, lots of positivity around Sesko and Lammens, which is great to see. And these are two positive moves in the right direction. A striker who can score goals and a goalkeeper that is competent. But is it going to be enough? You know, we're 9th or 8th in the league. By tomorrow, we might be down to mid-table again. We've got Liverpool after the break who've just ominously lost 3 games in a row. Do you really think they're going to do 4 losses in a row at Anfield? It's a tough ask. And we've got some tough games to come. We're not out of jail. Amorim's not out of jail. It feels good tonight. It feels great tonight. I'll cheers to that. But you know as well as I do, the path of Manchester United never runs smooth. And there will be more bumps in the road. So where are we tonight? What's coming next? Get your comments in, of course. It's an 8 o'clock show, and you will drive it. Ken says, a ruthless club would sack Amorim now. That is not going to happen, Ken, at all. And it's a good place to start. Is there any inclination or possibility that Man United might have waited till the international break after the Brentford result to sack Ruben Amorim? Well, yeah, look, a certain club with a certain mindset may have made the decision already and waited till the international break. That's not impossible, but it's not going to happen. There was many reports from people like David Ornstein that even if United had lost today, they weren't looking to move Ruben Amorim on. And I think when it comes to the ownership, if you value the ownership, if you care about what the ownership thinks, I certainly don't respect the ownership. I don't think they know what they're doing and they haven't earned that respect. But they are not looking to replace Ruben Amorim, you know, even if it gets to a point where he needs to be sacked. I'm not sure it would happen as quick as you would want it to. Obviously, some people feel there's an inevitability that he will be sacked at some point, and, you know, maybe we can discuss that. But with regards to Ineos, they're not going to make this decision. They made such a big call, sacking Erik ten Hag a year ago after giving him £300 million in the summer. A change of system, a complete 180. They're not going to do this because too many reputations are on the line. Barada, Wilcox, Sir Jim Radcliffe. They're going to want this to work, and the result today will be huge for them. And the players certainly turned up today as well. So I don't think we're certainly not in a position where we have been in the past, where you roll up to Watford and you think, surely not, and then they don't turn up because they've had enough of Ollie. So we're certainly not in West Ham with Ten Hag. The players are still fighting for the manager, and the ownership is as well. The thing I want to understand is can this be a new start? Can this be a change of direction? Or is it just another inconsistent result that will be followed by another one? I think that the pathway I want to walk is one of success. And success goes hand in hand with consistency. I want to see Manchester United consistent. I want to see us climbing up that league table. I want to see us back in Europe. I want to see us moving in the right direction. And I want Ruben Amorim to be that guy. But I don't believe that. And I think I'd be a bloody idiot to sit here in front of you and say we're back tonight. And it makes me laugh if anybody is. What I'm asking is, could it be the step in the right direction to a fresh start? And that is the big question, because I do think that having a goalkeeper that brings confidence improves the team. I do think a striker that scores goals improves the team. But I look at the league table tonight and we're the only team in the top 10 with a negative goal difference. So this has been a problem for years. So we need to solve that. And I look at the team that he picked today, and whilst I wasn't impressed with Sunderland, and I'm willing to give the credit to Man United that we made Sunderland look bad because we played well, I'm happy to give that, whether it's true or not. I still have massive reservations. I just think sometimes when it looks like a banana, it tastes like a banana, it is a banana. And I think that when I look at Man United's midfield and it doesn't look good, and it's proved to me it's not good, and it's proved to me you can't trust it. I don't trust it. I want to, but I don't trust it. Under Erik ten Hag, our midfield was Eriksen, Casemiro, Mainu, and Bruno, and it wasn't good enough. And it's pretty much the same last season under Amorim. It was Mainu, Ugarte, Casemiro, Bruno, and it wasn't good enough. And I don't think it's going to be good enough this season. And I think that's the problem he needs to solve. And I do have sympathy with him because I think the board let him down in the summer, but I still have massive concerns about the midfield. And also, it's quite a minor thing for me tonight, but I will throw it in there. His obsession with Dalot is incredible. I felt in the first couple of minutes, he's looking at the player behind him. He looks back and then the player's in front of him. And that happened twice in the same game. His passing's abysmal. I don't understand why he's in the leadership team. I don't understand why he's a player of trust. He is a big problem as well. I like Dalot. I mean, I think these players don't understand that I don't see them as people. I see them as players. Dalot might be the nicest guy in the world, but I don't rate him as a player, and yet Amorim seems to rate him. So I still think there are movements, but look, he's dropped Binder. He's took Maguire out the team for Yoro. They're steps in the right direction. Anyway, I want to get into some of your comments. I haven't really answered the question whether I think it should be whether it could be a fresh start and whether Amorim can survive. I will answer the question. Tom Pugh says, although he had limited work to do, the composure and commanding of the box from Lammens was pleasing. Would he remain your number one, Mark? I can't believe, Tom, that people don't see Lammens as the number one now. For me, the minute he started was the minute he was going to be the number one for Manchester United. Absolutely. I don't really understand why people are saying that he wouldn't be the number one, because I think he absolutely is. I think when you start him in a game you need to win, and let's not underestimate, as bad as Sunderland were, that may as well have been a cup final for Amorim. That may as well have been Ten Hag's Man City Cup final. He had to win. And yeah, okay, Sunderland newly promoted, slightly easier at Old Trafford, but it was still a massive game. It's not a sort of game where you go, oh, I'll be lackadaisical and just try this out. I think Lammens starting was a statement. I think his performance was a statement. And I think he's the number one now. And I'm happy about that. I like his aura. Look, I'll put my hands up. If I don't know anything about a player, I'll put my hands up. If I know something about a player, I'll give you an opinion. Didn't know anything about Lammens. Obviously, I read everything everybody else did, but I've never watched him play a game of football before. And I didn't want to. I genuinely didn't want to, because I don't really care what he's done in the Belgian league. What I do care about is what the players were saying about him in training and his reputation. And I've seen so many goalkeepers at Manchester United struggle over the years. Bartes was a World Cup winner, used to shit himself regularly. Taibi, the Italian goalkeeper, came in with a good reputation, went back to Italy with a good reputation, but got swallowed up by the pressure at Manchester United. Tim Howard, Ben Foster. Dubravka, when he was on loan, was a good keeper before, was a good keeper after. Even as a backup goalkeeper at Man United, completely miskicks the ball. There's something about the Man United... I remember speaking to Ben Foster about this. He says there's something about being a Man United goalkeeper that just is different to any other club. The pressure, what it does to you, it's incredible. So don't underestimate the fact that Lammens came in today and never looked out of place. I think that is a really big testament to his character, that he did not portray, and maybe he had it inside, but never portrayed any level of nervousness. And we should champion that, because we know what happens to Man United goalkeepers. I mean, look at Onana. So I think it's a really good step in the right direction. And for me, he's definitely 100% number one now. Luke says, am I the only one that thought Lammens gave everyone calmness throughout the team? Look, at the end of last season, you could see the nervousness in Harry Maguire. You could see it with Yoro. You could see it with De Ligt from Onana. Of course, having a goalkeeper that gives confidence to the defence is going to make the defence play better. Somebody just said in the chat, Ricky did say Luke Shaw was the best player on the pitch. I'll hit this right now. Love Ricky. Absolutely, legend. But we all have a weakness. What game is he talking about? Like, Luke Shaw was the best player on the pitch. Luke Shaw's not been the best player on the pitch since he played for England about 5 years ago. I mean, what pitch? Rib says Luke Shaw played well. Anybody that says otherwise is delusional and just hating because they have a biased opinion against him. Rib, I don't like the use of the word hate. I think it's moronic. I think it's childish, and it's a desperate pledge by somebody that is desperate to win their argument that they try and dismiss a counter argument by using hate. It's immature. In my opinion, Luke Shaw was a player that I used to back all the time. I felt at one point he was one of the best left backs in the world. And I've had his back for many years as a player. I don't know him as a person. But I personally think since the last 2 years, he's been injury prone. He's obviously put other things before Manchester United as a fact, which he's never apologised for. And, obviously that's a reason to not trust him as a player for me. But performance is what it's all about. And I thought he was shit in the Europa League final. I thought he was shit at the end of last season. And I think for most of this season, he's not been very good either. And if you think he had a good game, well done. I'll point to 4 or 5 times where he didn't. Where he lost his man again, where he got skipped past, where he played a bad pass. I thought, I'll give him a 6 and I felt it was generous. How he's the best player on the pitch ahead of De Ligt and Yoro, who were in a different postcode of brilliance ahead of him, I don't know. And that's before you talk about Sesko, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Lammens, even Bruno was way better than Luke Shaw. So I don't know where that comes from. Ecstatic we won, says Skippy. Sounds like we did a lot of things really well. Bit off topic. How good is Caicedo? Mix of Kante and Essien. We need a player like that in our team. If we can, then there's real hope. I tell you what, Skippy. We're not here to talk about Chelsea, but if there was ever a player that you could play next to Bruno that might work, it is Caicedo. Like, he is an absolute athletic beast who does everything. He does the job of 2 people. And if you're going to play Bruno in the midfield, and I don't like playing Bruno in the midfield, that's the sort of person you've got to have next to him. But they don't come cheap. I know it's one game, but long term, would you rather have Lammens and a new number 2 or Lammens as number 2? Ross, I think a lot of people have spoken about Man United signing an experienced goalkeeper next summer. I think it's an irrelevance. I think it's an absolute irrelevance because there's a long time between now and May, and I expect Lammens to play every game in goal. So by the time we hit May, if he's doing really well, you don't sign the experienced goalkeeper, in my opinion. Ghost92 says Sesko seems to have struck gold with Lammens getting more service in just one game than he has received from the team all season. Thank you very much, pal. Luke left his man on the 3rd minute. What nonsense, says Sanchez. And after today's performance, what key areas should Man United focus on to build consistency and turn this into a real turning point for the season? Midfield. Midfield's still not good enough, Football Insights, for me. I'm not fooled by that midfield. I'm just going to set up a poll here. I should have done it at the start. I've gone all quiet. I've just set up an either or, because in the context of, is this a new start? Is it a turning point? Can Amorim survive? Either or. Amorim survives the season. Amorim sacked at some point this season. Get your votes in there. But yeah, look, I think if we are to have a new start and we are to rebuild, look, let me just state, over the moon with Lammens, really happy with Sesko, really like Mbeumo, don't mind competition for places between Cunha and Mount. I'd rather have competition than no competition, so I'd rather Cunha start, but I don't mind competition if Mason Mount's fit. Centre-backs look really good. Like, Yoro and De Ligt look really good. Hopefully this guy, Martinez, is going to be back soon. Obviously, we've got problems at wing-back, but we knew that coming into the season. For crying out loud, why not just play Agate and Mainu and give it a go? Like, I don't see how it can be any worse. Like, they're young. They're going to be the future. They're more mobile. I don't know why you just wouldn't stick with them for 5 games and just give them a go. I mean, we've seen that with Lammens. We've seen it with Yoro. Like, we've seen what happens when you give people an opportunity and trust. And I think if this is to work, Football Insights, I think the midfield is the final piece. That is the final piece, as far as I'm concerned. Ricky in for a performance review with HR on Monday, says Josh. And Marlowe, well, people say, why don't you do a video with Ricky? Because, I mean, I normally do them on tour, and they're really good. But how do you have a debate with someone who's going to sit there and tell you that Luke Shaw's the best player on the pitch, and I'm going to sit there and tell you he's one of the worst? There's no debate, is there? You know, I'm going to point at all the mistakes he makes, and he's going to go all the good things he did. So, Mark, Ricky gave Shaw man of the match. So what are you going to do? Well, I mean, he just wasn't. He just wasn't, was he? And I tell you what that is. That's Player FC. I mean, it just shows you that Player FC is diverse. You can be 80 and you can be 80. Ricky's not 80. But my point is, Player FC, stereotypically, people think Player FC is some, you know, 15-year-old and his mates who've got pictures of Bruno on the wall or Rashford or etc. Player FC is not that. I hate it when people do that because it's not immature, Player FC. Player FC is like, you know, Ricky's got it with Luke Shaw. People have it. They have their favourite players. It's the way it is. VD, thank you very much for your super chat. What's your view on the next match with Liverpool? Can someone remind me about that from The Mandalorian? Because I do want to talk about that. Can Martinez play No, Martinez won't be back for that, JB. I definitely think he should be number one, says Jay, in relation to Lammens. But his second game is against Liverpool with Bruno in the midfield. I would hate to see him thrown to the media after that. I think if he's busy against Liverpool as a goalkeeper, it's not a bad thing. I think it's the perfect second game. Where did passing from the back brigade disappear within 2 years? What do their queen think? Says Sarvish. A Liverpool loss again. We're definitely going to get bent over, says Sully. And you said your biggest problem with Amorim is Bruno in the midfield, which I agree. That's why results are most important over performances right now till Bruno is out next summer and more players are in, says Jumbo. But he shouldn't be doing it. I like what you're saying, John Bow, that if we can survive till the summer and Bruno pisses off with Casemiro and we build a proper I mean, look, if Casemiro and if somebody said to me, Casemiro and Bruno are leaving tomorrow and here's 2 new midfielders, hammer him in. Let's build it. Let's fucking build it. Get the cement. We're building. 100%. 100%. You know, Lego FC. Let's build. But they're not going until the summer. They might not be going at all, but they're not going until the summer, and he's sticking with them. I mean, look, I don't want it to be a theme of the show, but you've got Mainu at 20, who the crowd are cheering for when he comes on because he excites them and he's a local young lad. You've got Agate, who's like 24, who I still think is a very good player and can get better. That should be in midfield, not Casemiro, who's just, I just don't get what he is. Casemiro, he's a good passer. He's good in the air, but he's got no legs. He's late in the tackle, and he gets run past all the time. And then Bruno, who we know, you know, whatever. And he goes with that midfield. I don't get it. And it will be a problem. I mean, I watched a bloody good game tonight between Liverpool and Chelsea. And obviously, we're all happy that Liverpool lost because they're our biggest rival. But let's be clear, it was close. It could have gone Liverpool's way. Chelsea deserved it in the end. The midfield battle between, well, what was Reece James, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez versus Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch. I mean, bloody hell. That's a midfield battle. And it doesn't always work out like that because we beat Villa. We had a good game against Arsenal. But I look at Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai against Bruno, Casemiro, and I think, shit. You know, so he needs to work on that, and there are ways he should be working on that. Although he had limited work to do, the composure and commanding of the box from Lammens was pleasing. Yeah, done that one. Thank you very much. I agree Bruno should not have the defensive capabilities of an 8, but you see in the game he is not fixed, Mark. He moves up in possessions as Robert. I'm doing a show on Bruno in the international break. It's going to be an 8 o'clock show. If you're a Bruno fan, you might want to avoid it. It's going to be balanced, but the worst thing we did was keep him in the summer. I'm absolutely convinced. I think we'd be in a much better place and there'd be a lot more patience if they'd moved him on. Brilliant player, brilliant servant, but there was a sacrificial lamb there and we should have done it because the patience would be there. The patience would be there. Did we regret not getting Semenyo in the summer? Oh, JB, what a comment. What a comment. I saw this last night. What a comment and what a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. Why would I regret not getting Semenyo? I mean, he's more of a winger than a number 10. We don't play with wingers. And I'm very, very happy with Mbeumo and Cunha. So, look, Semenyu's doing great. And when he gets his move, well done. But this is the flip-flop nature that does my head in. He's doing well at Bournemouth. Rashford's doing well at Barcelona. Some people think Garnacho did well at Chelsea tonight. Doesn't mean he's going to do well at Man United. I am very, very happy with Mbeumo and Cunha. And I wouldn't take Semenyo over them. Doesn't mean he's not a brilliant player for Bournemouth, but I don't like that mentality. I really don't. I'm like, oh, you know, players doing well at Bournemouth. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Cunha and Mbeumo shat all over Semenyu's season at Bournemouth last year. We picked the right players. The problem at Man United is not picking the right players. It's implementing him into this team. I agree Bruno should not have done that one. Good question, though, JB. The only way Amorim can survive is by benching Shaw, Amorim, Casemiro and Dalot. Second half was not good at all, says Sanchez. Look, on a positive, Lammens comes in for Binder. We're all very happy. Yoro comes in for Maguire. We're all very happy. When this guy's fit, he surely comes in for Shaw. We're all very happy and it's another step forward. I can see a time very, very soon where injuries permitting, the only issue is going to be the midfield. I think we're not far off from it. When Martinez comes in and takes Shaw's place, you got Dorgo on the left, possibly Mazraoui or Ahmad on the right, or Dalot. Yoro, Martinez, De Ligt, Lammens in goal, Sesko, Cunha, Mount, and Mbeumo up front. The only problem in that team is going to be the most important area of the pitch. That's the only area I'm really that worried about. I mean, even Dalot today was crap, but you don't pick Dalot over Mazraoui, Ahmad or Dorgu when they're fit. So I think the only problem we're going to really have this team, I think he's going to continue to make steps forward, Amorim. Lammens today, Yoro back in today, Martinez will surely come in. But the midfield is still going to be a problem, I think. Thank you, Rajaf. Ton of focus on the midfield. We need someone better on the wings. Ahmad is not a great wing back. I thought he was very good in the first half, David. I thought Ahmad was good in the first half. Bring in two on both sides and team will improve more. Wayne Ruby says, give me the team of today without Shaw in centre-back and no Bruno in the midfield, and we were easily top four. I didn't like the Mount sub as he was very good. I think with Mount, we have to be very careful, though. I just don't think he's a 90-minute player. I think the reason Mason Mount, well, I was going to say, the reason Mason Mount stayed fit so long, he has had an injury this season, if we're being honest. But I think the way to manage Mason Mount is not to give him 90 minutes. And I do worry about Mason Mount in the sense that if we ever did get back into Europe, how would he cope? Because we're doing one game a week and he can't do 90 minutes. So I think we've got to be careful how we manage it. Alan says, greetings from LA. I've been watching since 2020. Lammens caught that ball like I caught HPV from my... Okay. Thank you, Alan. Luke, lefties might have done that one as well. Right, let's go to your poll. Brandon says, who do you see as a future captain if Bruno goes? I mean, I think... I wasn't going to do this, but I'm sort of with Roy Keane and the ex-players and some of you on this. I saw the get-together at the start of the game. I saw the little circle, and I saw Bruno going like this. And I thought, it's probably 2 years too late to make yourself look like a good captain, mate. I've always tried to back Bruno as a captain, but I feel like Phil Collins, it's against all odds because he's not a good captain. I think the way he plays football is a delight at times. He's a free spirit. He's a free roamer. He's not disciplined. But they're very rarely a captain. You know, captains are based on how they play. You look at people like Roy Keane, Steven Gerrard, John Terry, Nemanja Vidic. They're disciplined, committed leaders. And I don't think Bruno is disciplined enough to be a captain. I think the way he plays is quite erratic, quite risky. And on the edge. And I don't think he is a captain. I think he's been the best captain we've got, but I don't think he's really the answer at this point. One, I don't think he's in it for the long term. I think he's gone in the summer. I think everybody knows that. And two, even today, I mentioned it in the match reaction, he puts a good cross in towards Sesko. It is a good cross. And he's got his hands in the air. Like, why aren't you on the end of that? And I think, that's not going to be helpful. And it happens a lot. So I don't rate him as a captain anymore. I think it needs to change, and it will do when he leaves, of course. De Ligt is the most obvious captain. I don't know why he's not in the leadership group. He's not in the leadership group. Delot's in the leadership group, not De Ligt. It's Delot, not De Ligt. Some people think it's De Ligt. It's Delot. I don't know why De Ligt's not in the leadership group. I think he's our player of the season this year. I think he's been the best player from game 1 to today. I think he's an organiser. I think he's great for Lenny Yoro. And obviously he's been a captain before, and he's been at the club a couple of years now. So I think De Ligt is perfect for captain. But I wouldn't be surprised if he got given to Delot when Bruno goes, to be honest. I fully expect Delot to play a lot of games. I said it in the summer. Thank you very much to JB. Okay, this is the poll. So, either or. Amorim survives the season. Amorim sacked this season. Now, this, to me, is I'm not calling you flip-flops. It's just the way human beings work. So, I'm literally asking the question, is this a new start? And I've not given you my answer yet. Is this a new start? Can Amorim survive? Basically 75% of you, so 3 out of 4, are saying he survives the season. 1 out of 4, 25%, are saying he'll get sacked this season. Now, that means like sacked next month, sacked at Christmas, sacked in February, sacked when we can't get top 5 anymore. 75% of you are saying he's going to last the season. I genuinely think it's 50-50. Obviously, it's 75-25 for your votes, but knowing what's happened, I don't think, I genuinely don't think it's, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't think he's out of jail at all. I really don't. I think Liverpool, I'll answer the Liverpool question now. I think Liverpool are going to beat us. They're better than us. I know they've lost 3 games, but I've watched all 3. They're better than us. They're on the verge of clicking. And they're not going to be complacent having lost 3 in a row against Manchester United. I think they've got the potential. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with Chelsea in the first 15 minutes, and it was aggressive. And it was a battle. I don't know that we've got the players for that in the midfield. So I think there's a big chance we'll lose to Liverpool. And then we'll be back where we were yesterday. There'll be people going, Then you got Brighton at home, where we should win that, to be fair. And then you got 2 difficult away games. Forest will probably have sorted themselves out or got a new manager. And Spurs are doing really, really well under Thomas Frank. So I'd say out of the next 4 games, we're probably going to lose 2. But that's not a redemption arc, is it? That's just... I feel that we're like a set of scales at the moment. There's conflict, there's imbalance, and it's like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. It feels like it's like that. And at some point, it might flip. It might go win, 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 and then he's all right. Or it might go lose, 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 and he's in big trouble. But at the moment, it's just like it's like that, isn't it? We lose last week, we win this week, we win the week before. It's you lose to Grimsby. It's very imbalanced. I would love you to be right. I'd love 75% of you to be right that he survives the season. But it's precarious. Today, we were good. Last week, we were shocking. And there are better teams to come than Brentford and Sunderland, with all due respect. I think in the next 4 games, Forest are unknown. Brighton are probably better than Sunderland and Brentford. And Liverpool and Spurs are a lot better. So we're going to have to be a lot better. If he comes out of those 4 games with 2 wins, a draw and a loss, he's in a very good place. If he comes out with those games with 3 losses, he's in a very, very bad place. So I think it's in the balance. I think it's still in the balance, to be honest with you. I still haven't answered the question, and I must answer the question. Do I think that this can be a fresh start, and will Amorim make it? I want him to make it. I really do. I've never said Amorim out. I know a lot of people have, and you know, it's quite funny actually. Somebody was on about this on That's Football. These people who've been screaming Amorim out, and then we win a game and they're talking the positives, and it's like, that's why I don't do it. I think if you're gonna do something, have some respect for yourself. If you're gonna go get rid of this manager, he's useless, like some people have, don't beat Sunderland 2-0 and go, we're back. You know, it's people will see through you. They'll see you as for what you are, you know, a bullshitter. I'm very frustrated by a lot of things Amorim's done, but I'm also very impressed with a lot of things he's done. And I think the team he picked today, I said it before the game, that team he picked today just massively clicked. I was in a state of conviction because I'm like, Lammens, Yoro, yes. No Cunha, Bruno in the midfield with Casemiro, Delo at left wing back, and you sort of, that's where I am with Amorim. So I think where my honest answer is this a fresh start? No. Do I think he'll survive the season? I'm 50-50 on that. Is it a step forward? Yes. Can we go to Liverpool and get a result? I don't think it actually matters. We can, but I don't think he loses his job if we lose the game anyway, because it will just be Liverpool are better than us. We've become a football club that it's okay to lose to Liverpool to, which I never thought I would see, but losing to Liverpool doesn't actually define a manager anymore. Thank you, Glazers, well done. But it doesn't. You know, our biggest rival, it doesn't actually matter if you lose to them anymore. It's not the Glazers, and the reason I say the Glazers is because when Liverpool came to Old Trafford and battered Ollie, and he didn't get the sack, I think that was a day where we went, well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you lose to Liverpool now. So I don't think Liverpool will be a game that really defines Amorim. I think Brighton, Forest, and Spurs will be games that he's got to try and avoid defeating. And if he does that, he'll make it to another international break. And then if he comes out of that, he'll make it to Christmas. And if he makes it to Christmas, he might get a signing in January. And if he gets a signing in January, you'd be stupid to sack him before the end of the season. So I think we've just got to look, the way I'm looking at it is, can he get to there? Can he get to there? Winning today gets him through this international break. Can he get to the next one? And then, can he get to January? And if he does, I think he probably makes the season. But there's no point in predicting or thinking it's a new start. I think it's a step forward, and it needs to be followed up. But his biggest problem, beyond his team selections and his, mistakes in the midfield, the biggest problem Ruben Amorim has is the same problem Jose Mourinho had, and the same problem Ollie and Ten Hag had, is that I fully expected us to beat Brentford last week, and they didn't turn up. And when's the next time they're not going to? When's the next time the light's going to be off? Because when the light switches on, it's probably going to be okay. But the next game, the light's off, and it will be off. That's when he's going to be in trouble. Lammens' performance, clean sheet plus win equals number 1, says K-Stone. Wrote off Malacia after a year out. Why the hope on Martinez, says T-Suave. Do I seriously have to answer that? I mean, you're the prat who's compared Malacia to Martinez. I wrote off Malacia after a year out because he was shit before it. Martinez is actually a decent player. But, hey, I'll agree with you, mate. He's had 2 major injuries. I'm very worried that he might have a third. And if he has a third, it's over. We are too inconsistent, but did we not all agree on here we had a tough start? We're currently only 2 points off 5th. Can we still make top 5? Says Tom. Let's see in the next 4 games. He's got 4 games. I should have said that. He's got 4 games. He's got Liverpool, Brighton, Forest and Spurs before the last international break. After those 4 games, we'll know, Tom. We're currently 2 points off 5th place. After the next 4 games, we'll know. I'm shocked with 75%, says Sanchit. And 50-50, I know you did rethink your words before you said 50-50. Let's wait and watch. It's a watching brief. It's a watching brief. Anybody who says Amorim's going to get sacked by Christmas is predicting something they've got no evidence on. And anybody who says he's going to survive this season is predicting something they've got no evidence on. All we know is he was perilously close to being sacked this morning. And what I mean by that is if he'd lost to Sunderland, he could have got the sack. But if he'd lost to Sunderland and then lost to Liverpool, he probably would have got the sack. So a few hours ago, this manager was in big trouble. By beating Sunderland, he's not in big trouble anymore. But when you've been close to the edge and you take a step backwards, it's only one step forward and you're on the edge again. So I think that's where we are. Like, he's okay. He's in a good position. But it only takes a little push and he's back on the edge again. So I think that's the way I look at it. Andre says, I'm sorry, Mark, but I can't defend the manager. Call me toxic if you want, but I believe he's not the right guy. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you can prove me wrong, but I think he's not the man. Well, Andre, I mean, I almost feel like... what is that? Oh, it's chlorine. I hate that. It's bleach or something. I actually respect you a lot, Andre. Appreciate the super chat and appreciate the honesty because, again, I was saying this on That's Football. Someone was asking me about Man United on the Chelsea-Liverpool watch-along. And I said, I'm not hammering out, but questions do need to be asked. And despite winning today, where there should be still loads of people who hammer him out because why have they made a decision and then changed it because we beat Sunderland? So I actually respect you, Andre, for being brave enough to put your comments in there that everybody had yesterday. A lot of people had that yesterday. So you beat Sunderland and, I don't think that anymore. I think if you've made your mind up that he's not the right guy, you're not toxic. You're just being consistent with the decision I hope you thought out in the first place. So fair play to you for being honest about it. I mean, would you rather be somebody that's thought it through and gone, this is not going to be the right guy? Or would you rather be somebody that was saying that this morning, but you beat Sunderland 2-0 and now he's the guy? Like, I think you can be converted back, Andre. I think you can. But a home win against Sunderland isn't going to be enough. It's going to need to be, maybe 4 games of good results, maybe 10 games. I don't know. But I think people can come back, but it might take a little bit more. Sell Bruno in January and keep Amorim, says Shaz. I'm Belgian. His name is pronounced Lammens. Great. Thank you for that. I thought Lammens had a great game, though. Mount and Cunha are the 2 footballers we have, says Robert McCormack. And thank you very much for that. JJ says, come on, Sunderland were terrible. This match was one of the easiest matches this season. People need to understand United will not get far with Amorim. I mean... I don't know. I choose to believe that we made Sunderland look bad. It's hard when you're watching it live to totally analyse. I mean, the depending on the Mount goal was shit. I mean, you can't give any player that amount of space at any level. Mount took it well. It was a good ball by Mbeumo. But you shouldn't be able to cross a ball into a guy in the box who takes a touch and picks his spot. I mean, that was bad defending. I also think that, the second goal was, throw a long ball in, it hits off someone and lands at Sesko. But I think you've got to give credit to the fact that we had, what about the save from Bruno's shot in the top corner? I mean, that was a worldie. We did enough to win the game. We played better than them. I think we've got to give the benefit of the doubt. We very rarely do that, and I think we should give the benefit of the doubt and be positive. What I would say is we should be beating Burnley and Sunderland at home. They're newly promoted teams. It's Old Trafford. We've got aspirations to get into Europe. You should be beating these teams home and away. So, as I said in the match reaction, people say we've had a difficult start. We have had a difficult start. Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, they're difficult games. They finished top 4. But Burnley and Sunderland at home are newly promoted teams as well. And Brentford away, I think, should have been 3 points and we lost it. So, I think everything is in the balance with United. And it's going to take a little bit more evidence to decide where we're at. I think if I was saying after 7 games, how would you rate our season so far? Obviously, including the Carabao Cup exit, you'd have to say below average. But I wouldn't say it's terrible. And I think if we could pick up, you know, as I said, out of the next 12 points, if we could pick up 8 or 9, I think we start to turn the season around. 8 or 9 means win 2, draw 2, or win 3, lose 1. It's tough, but that's what you need. That's what we need to do. We need to turn it around. We said if we were within 5 points by game 10, we'd be good and crack on. Let's be positive for a second. We're only 5 off Liverpool, says Walid. Yeah, I mean, I said that. I could agree with you and go, that's a great point. My problem is, every time anybody tries to throw that, I get this sick feeling inside because I'm like, show me the vision. Show me the vision. I want the vision. I want to know what the plan is. I still don't see a plan. I look at his team to get today and I go, Casemiro and Bruno in the midfield and Dalot at left wing back. Luke Shaw at left centre back. Like, you say if we're within a few points of 5th after 10 games, we've got a chance. Not if he keeps doing that. I still think, like, there is factual evidence that there are concerns. As I said, it can change, but I don't think he's going to change the midfield. You know, I know people get bored of the midfield conversation, but I don't think he's going to change the midfield. I think we're going to be talking about the midfield all season. Kobbie Mainoo is sat on the bench and Agate is sat on the bench and Casemiro and Bruno are starting, and I can't for the life of me understand it. He took Agate off last week and he was actually playing well. He refuses to give Mainoo a start. I just, they must be shit in training. They must be. Otherwise, the manager's just I don't know. So yeah, Walid, I understand. I said it. You know, after 10 games, if we're a few points of 5th, we could really kick on. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'll get proved wrong on that midfield. I'd love to get proved wrong, but it does worry me a lot. Mark, not sure if you remember, but Rangnick in an interview said that he also prefers playing Bruno deeper. What do they see that us fans aren't, says Sheehan. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I want to do a video on Bruno in the international break at 8 o'clock and really get into it. Somebody said it a few weeks ago and they're spot on. He's our best and worst player. And I think that sentence sums it up perfectly. He's our best and worst player. And I just don't know whether we're better off without him now, whatever that road is. Or are we not better off without him? I don't know. I think there's a really good conversation about that. Are we better without him or are we better with him? Every time we think we're better without him and we drop him, we play worse. But if he wasn't there, we'd have to find a way. And I think that's the interesting thing for me. Thank you, JJ. PJ says, Bruno's okay in the midfield if we're playing a 3. And that can happen. We've got 3 centre-backs and most teams play with 1 up front. One of your centre-backs should be stepping into the midfield and giving you an overload. We've got a back 5 at times. One of your centre-backs can move across and one of your wing-backs can step in. So it can work, but specialists in specialist positions. I actually saw Bruno being a little bit more disciplined today. He was playing the ball into Mainoo's feet from 5 yards away, which I think can be quite useful. But look, there's a massive part of me that doesn't want this international break like everybody else. I want to play Liverpool. I want to play Brighton. I want to play Forest. I want to play Spurs. I want to play these games and see if we're stepping forward or we're going to go like that. You know, I just want to get on with it. Prod says, it's just become a thing where the team are so used to playing alongside Bruno that they're trying to get used to the freedom of regularity as Bruno's always being a free roamer. I think the best thing that could happen is Glinios make it public that Amorim isn't going anywhere, regardless of results, so the players know that owning Downing Tools won't work, says Callum. And Sports and Leaks TV says, if you take a look at a season, Manchester United played good in most games, just didn't take our chances, and poor goalkeeping was the reason why we didn't collect certain points that we're supposed to. I disagree. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be, confrontational, but I disagree. I think against Arsenal, we played really well, and Binder cost us the game. I think against Fulham, Bruno missed a penalty, and then he let his man go, and we lost 3 points. I think against, who was third game? Burnley, we made hard work of a game that we should have won 3-0 at half-time. Manchester City, we were in the game, we were doing quite well, and Bruno let Foden go, and Luke Shaw didn't tackle Doku. Chelsea, we won. Brentford, the goalkeeping error wasn't till the third goal the game had been lost. So, yeah, I don't think we played well against Brentford. I don't think we played well enough to beat Man City. And Fulham, we were the masters of our own downfall. So, yeah, I don't think it was a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper made a mistake against Arsenal, and he's a goalkeeper I wouldn't trust. But, yeah, I think it's bigger than that. Sanchit says, Ahmad's a little bit selfish, agree. I'm a big fan of Ahmad. I would love it to work at right wing back. I actually thought he was quite physical. He won a lot of duels today. And in the first half, he was very good. He does need to find the pass sometimes, but the one where he had the shot and the keeper saved it in the first half, thought he had every right to shoot. Bad habits take time to change, and he's been part of a team that has had selfish wingers in it. So, but I like what Amorim's trying to do with Ahmad. I think it's an obvious one to have a moan about, but this is what I mean. I'm very conflicted with Ahmad, with Amorim. I want him to do well, and I'll shout out loud the things I like. Like, I like Ahmad as a right wing back if it works. I like it. I'd rather have a winger at right wing back than Dalot or Mazraoui. And I'm happy to be patient and work on that. And I think him and Mbeumo are starting to build a relationship. So, yeah, it's not all bad. I just wish he'd sort the bloody midfield out. And it's not looking good for Mainu. It's really not. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll close it down. But it's probably something we can do tomorrow night. But I mean, it's just not looking good for Mainu, is it? Like, we all want him in the team, but it's just not looking good. There's not enough game. Look, we'll talk about Mainu tomorrow night. But I mean, what about Zirkzee? I mean, if you're Zirkzee, you've got no chance. I mean, he has just got no chance. He might be quite a good player, but he's got no chance. He's got no chance of minutes, Zirkzee. Absolutely none. He is. We're not in Europe. We're not in the Carabao Cup. We're playing one game a week. Every game we've got to win. I mean, he is just surplus to requirements. As somebody said today, we should have kept Rasmus, because at least Rasmus could have come on for Sesko. Zirkzee, I just can't see how he gets any minutes, really. Yeah. Right. Thanks everyone for watching. Fulham and Brentford is the games we should have won, says JB. Yeah, we should have done. Ollie obsessed with McFred and Magaluf. Eric Ten Hag obsessed with Onana. Ruben's downfall will be his obsession with Bruno and Dalot, says Mrs. Stone. And Stretford Ender says, looking at last season's start and this season, what's the better start? I don't know how many points we had at the start of last season, so I don't know. But I want to say this season's a better start. I feel this season's better than last season's start, but I don't know points wise. I'm not 100% sure, but I want it to be this season, of course. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Early show tomorrow morning. I'm live at 9 because Seb's got a cup game at 10:30. So I can't do the 10 o'clock show. So I'll do it at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got 2 more points than last season, Mark. Well, there you go. I was right. My prediction was right. Thanks everyone for watching. Great show tonight. I wasn't going to do an 8 o'clock because it's been a busy day. But I'm glad I did, and thanks for everyone who tuned in live. And if you're not watching live, leave your comments as always. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care, stay safe, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.